And that leads me nicely into what I want to talk about today, because what people follow me on LinkedIn and stuff, they would have seen this. I've been working, there's a lady we engaged at PR for, as Linda, and she's done a cracking job. But I've also been paid myself to do a course with a lady called Kerry to learn how to do it ourselves. And I knew the power of this stuff before, because when I first came over to Ireland, I did this. And I got a 30,000 euro contract out of it. And that was using the power of local rags. Now, what people don't understand is, because they never think about it, it's not because they're stupid, you don't think about it. And the idea that local media is no longer worthwhile was said yesterday in Direct Mail is nonsense. You know, there is still a lot of print media out there, and print media is still powerful and effective.
Yeah.
PR people also deal with online things, like there's blogs and you know, my stories now all around the world, 160 odd places, as far away as certainly Nairobi. People are picking this up, and I've got a TV interview next week on Tuesday, with a national station. It's part of Sky. Yeah. So the power, I mean, I've said the power of local rags, but really the power of press and media outlets is phenomenal. And what people don't understand is local radio stations, local TV stations. So I'm not sure about the TV so much, but certainly radio, part of their license agreement is they have to provide a certain amount of time for local issues, local stuff, you know. Well, that would also include, or that does include, stories of local people. And similarly, it's of general interest. I mean, today's World Autism Awareness Day. This whole month is Autism Awareness Month. So they're looking for stories about autism. Well, okay, my book isn't about autism, but it's a talking point that I'm an autistic business owner who's written a book. And in it explicitly talks about how my autistic nature is of benefit to me and my clients. So it's a story. And radio stations have to fill some of their space with these kinds of stories. I'm not too sure about TV, but I bet it's the same. But also with print media, so your local the Berry Free Press, the West Cork People, you fucking name it, you've got print newspapers where you are, whoever's listening to this, that they can't, if they've got a 50-page fucking paper goes out every week, and it goes out on a Monday, for the sake of argument, at 5 o'clock is the fucking deadline when they print this damn thing. They can't have 19 pages then a blank page. It doesn't work like that. They however many pages they've got, it's always an even number, probably a multiple of 4. They have to fill every single square inch on every single page. If they can't fill it with advertising, which they often can't, and there's actually a trick there, we can play with local advertising, print advertising if you want to. I can come back to that if you want. But you know, if they've got half a page with nothing to go in it, they're fucked. A bit like an airplane, you know. If you're prepared to do it, which I'm not, but if you're prepared to do it and hang around on standby, you get really cheap airfares, because the minute that plane is ready to go, and if someone hasn't arrived, that seat has to be, the seat hasn't been sold, say, that seat has to be carried across the Atlantic or something. It costs money, it costs fuel. Mm-hmm. So it's better to put someone in it, even if it's only for a few quid, because at least then they'll pay the fucking price of having the chair, literally the seat, carried across the Atlantic. So if you understand this, you realise the press cannot go out empty. Some slots have to be filled. You can't you cannot print a paper and leave gaps in it because it looks stupid.
Very.
They will put your story. Now, if you're doing paid advertising or indeed stories yourself, you can do this. You can put an ad, I say a PDF of a certain size, or a story, and say to the journalist, if you ever get to the point when you need to run something at short notice, here's my check. Yeah, I'm prepared to pay this much for it, and no more. You cash the check, you run the ad, and you just have it there on standby. Yeah, might not work so well these days, especially as we don't have checks in Ireland anymore. I don't believe. I don't have a checkbook anymore. But the principle is the same. You give me your credit card number. It's like, if you want to run this ad, I'm prepared to pay 100 quid, no more, for this size ad. If you got space on a Friday afternoon, you can run it and then hit my card. That's it. that can work quite well. Some places will never do that. Like the Leicester Mercury, certainly in the past, were quite hard. They would never discount their rate card for anyone under any circumstances. Well, fine, I'm going to find someone who will. But most places will, because they realise that if they've got a big gaping hole in their local press thing, their fucking newspaper, they're in trouble.